It's a winter pickups video. I know this is actually a follow up to the last one. This is if the last one was like impulse buys, sort of out and about impulse buys, charity shops, yeah, and just random stuff. I thought, oh, like a magpie. You go, oh, that's nice, and then excuse me, grab it. Cash converters, that was another one, wasn't it? Moving mic. This one is stuff that I've sort of had my eye on, or also CEX purchases. A couple of actual impulse buys, but they all came from CEX. A few false starts. I'll get onto those. But this is sort of online things I've had my eye on for a long time. Some bloody Billy bargains. Things I've sort of spotted using my scouring Amazon Marketplace technique, and yeah, this is, I reckon, probably one of the best pickups videos I've ever read in terms of quality. Cost wise, I don't think I've not overpaid for anything. A lot of stuff I've sort of underpaid a lot for. One of them in particular, I'm really well out of it. But they're all sort of well priced, and so I'm sort of chuffed in that sense. But as actual quality is concerned, it's one of my personal best. I mean, I've seen, you know, obviously other people have had countless pickups videos with sort of a really impressive stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, for me, this is one of my better ones, at least in recent years. And it's sort of quite exciting. A couple of them were like really exciting sort of purchases, and they were almost sight unseen, which makes them even better. And they worked out for me, so I was a bit chuffed. Like I said, a few false starts, 2 dalliances with Momox via Amazon, I think. First one was just a purchase they had. What did they add? Final Fantasy Chronicles. You know, the US PS1 game, which is Final Fantasy 4, I think, and Chrono Trigger. It's not Tactics, is it? No, it's Final Fantasy 4 and Chrono Trigger. And as is often the way with Momox, you order something and then literally half an hour later you get an email saying, no, it's been cancelled. That's what they did with this time. Second occasion, fuck knows what was going on. Second occasion, again, sort of like doing my old Amazon Marketplace, sort of like, basically, I think I've explained it before. You have like a wish list on Amazon. Just scroll. Just sort of like relax, just sort of do it constantly, a couple of times a day. So you get to know all the prices. And every so often you'll notice something. Oh, that's a new listing, or that price has gone down, something like that. And this one was weird. It was PS5 version of the Turtles Cowabunga collection, and it came up as, what was it, £2.30 something, £2.40 with postage, making it £3.60 in total. And I thought, why is a copy of the Cowabunga collection £3.60? I was thinking, I can't pass that up. That's just weird. I mean, it's Momox, so chances are it will just get cancelled. So I sort of went, fuck it, bought it, half expecting it, or more than half expecting it to be cancelled, but then it wasn't cancelled. It's just weird. And eventually I was thinking, they're not even going to ship it. And they did ship it. They shipped it a couple of days ago, days afterwards. And then I waited like 2 weeks. And I thought, it's not going to turn up, is it? And then it did turn up. And I thought, it's actually turned up. But then I opened it up. And it wasn't what I was expecting. I tweeted about it. It's such a weird thing. I tweeted about it. It was, what they sent me was a German copy of Pro Evo 6 on the PS2. not exactly, because it came from Momox, obviously come from Germany. Not exactly PS5 version of the Cowabunga collection, is it? No. So, I thought, well, that's clearly going back. And it was just an arseache trying to explain, no, this is what has happened, and then eventually, I think, excuse me, I sent it back, and I'm still waiting. This is back in September. I'm still waiting for a refund. It's only £3.60. So just not too desperate, but then it does sort of set a precedent for the future. If I ever thought of spending more money, but I'm still waiting. And then both Momox and Amazon are both saying it's neither of their responsibility. They both, I think Momox said, "Oh, we've actioned it, or we've said that you can have a refund, but it's just down to Amazon to action it or something." And then Amazon said, "No, it's down to the seller." So fuck knows what's going on. But I've just got to get onto them. I just can't be bothered. I've got to actually physically phone them. So that was them. Momox, keep an eye out for them. A bit shifty. What was the other one? I've forgotten now. There was one random person who I bought something again off the marketplace, Amazon Marketplace, and it was a PS2 game called Under the Skin, and it's about a £25 game, but this seller had it for £12, about half price. And then I bought it, and then they refused to send it, and then apparently they'd done it to a load of other people and blaming Amazon for some sort of pricing glitch. Thinking, fuck off, no. And they said, "Oh, if you'd like to cancel the listing," I'm thinking, no, I'm not going to cancel it. I mean, I wouldn't be able to leave you feedback. And then eventually, it came, I think, again, went through the whole sort of 2-week period you meant to wait. And then I thought I'll leave some feedback, and I realised someone else had already been in the same situation. I left my feedback, saying sort of they tried to blame Amazon. And I left my feedback. I was the second person, and a whole load of other people left feedback. So obviously this person had done it to a load of people. They're called Hyrule Games. They're an Amazon marketplace. They're Hyrule Games, and they were trying to get people to cancel the sales themselves. And all these people, no, because then I wouldn't be able to leave you feedback. And they wouldn't actually cancel the listings. The seller wouldn't cancel the listings. They wanted the buyer to cancel the listings. So they're clearly desperate not to have bad feedback. So if you don't want bad feedback, don't sort of fuck it up. And that's what they did. What was the other one? I can't remember what the other one was. There's another, just sort of, no, it was just a screw up. But anyway, just someone asking about, some shitty, who the hell was it? It's going to get my tits now. Maybe I'll remember it like in about 10 minutes. But right. Any stories? Already 8 minutes in, but no, have a drink first. That way. This is mostly games. One, a book, and then a peripheral. But then after that, it'll be games. Right, first one, book. I know a lot of people already got this. I know a few people have sort of taken their lead. And I thought, oh, that looks really good. I've seen people pick it up, and it looks really good. And it's something that went out of stock on. Excuse me, move my mic in. Went out of stock on Amazon, and then came back in stock. And apparently, it was really in demand because the prices are going a bit crazy because it went out of stock once. But this is, I think, I got the second pressing, or whatever you call it in publishing terms, because it's a book. I was like, it's a book, yeah. That's Silent Running, by the way. It's a shame you can't see it. Silent Running is a fucking cracking film. But that's my old telly. The old telly, sort of the other telly that was in that spot, it got even worse. You remember? It sort of like it lost the bottom half of the backlights, so there was just a dark band across. You might have noticed it in the last video. My part one of this pickups video, right? So yeah, I bought a book, and bit disappointing. It's this. It's the Japanese RPG. What is it? What do you call it? Guide to Japanese RPGs. And I really like with the cover. I mean, the image is a bit cheesy, sort of. It's a bit like Thomas Kincaid. Look him up. He's an artist. He's a landscape artist, and he does just awful sort of cheesy sort of landscapes, sort of fantasized landscapes, just like cottages next to streams and things. But this has a bit of that, but if it works better because it's of what it's about, and I like the image, and I like this band down the side, and it gives you this impression that this is a sort of proper serious sort of compendium or anthology of all games ever, and it's going to be really sort of worthwhile and interesting to read. And but then I got it, and I thought, well, I was really excited. I read it, and unfortunately, the quality of the writing is not there. It's a bit amateurish. It's changeable. I'll give it that. Changeable depending on who's doing the writing, because obviously it's lots and lots of people have all played these RPGs. I'm guessing at least once, probably more, and I'm guessing the pool of people who can write this stuff is very, very small compared to other sorts of games, because how long does one of these games take to play? Which means, yeah, the writing is just a bit amateur. It's disappointing, and it's you'd hope it'd be like an encyclopedia, but it's not. They're more like little sort of reviews, like fan reviews, or it's just disappointing. And so I think the publishing it needs a bit of what's the word? Proofreading. I think their page layouts need to be better. I've seen bits of the the scrolling beat map one. What's it called? That looks a lot better done, a lot more professional, and just this one's just disappointing. It got really good reviews on Amazon, but there was one buyer who said sort of like, I thought, no, they're actually spot on. It's the quality of their writing. Disappointing, but you don't learn that much about it. So a lot of the stuff that the writer puts in is sort of slightly irrelevant. It's just they spend a lot of time considering. It's like half a page, like 2 paragraphs per page or something. Sometimes they're small sections, and they spend a lot of time on sort of irrelevant details. I think I'd like really interested to know that if someone like a game journalist like Darren Jones, who does Retro Gamer, or Jazz Rignall, I've started following him on Twitter. It's interesting. I wonder if sort of proper, professional games reviewers, games journalists, what they think of the quality of the writing, because I think it's a bit lacking, a bit amateurish, like I said. But right, that was a long blurb. Right, next purchase. What goes first? This one. First game. Actually, I should do that the other way around. But yeah, this is basically because this is just the nostalgia. I've got a very, very small list of Game Boy games I used to have when I was a kid, and this is one of them. I think the other 3 are Nintendo World Cup, Kung Fu Masters, and Blu-ray Fighter. And so I've only got 3 left, and this is one of them. And this was only about £4. I was really chuffed, but this is one I played a lot of when I was a nipper. So yeah, it was a bargain. I think it's often goes for slightly more than I paid. Yeah, it was about £3.99. So I was like really chuffed. It's a really nice nick. It's WWF Superstars. Back when it was WWF. I used to like playing as Mr. Perfect. I don't know why. I didn't really know wrestling. But right, a lot of this stuff. Actually, I'll go with this first. No, I won't. I'll go with this. A lot of this stuff is me trying to use up my credit, partly because I've still got a load of stuff to trade in, so I wasn't so concerned about hoarding the credit to get something good, because I knew I'd still had a load of stuff to trade in. I've just been sort of like can't be bothered to take it and trade it because I've got a couple of board games and I know they're like a hassle. I don't want to sort of load it onto these branches of Computer Exchange, and some poor bastard's got to count all the bits, and I've got 2 board games at that, so they'd have to do it twice. I think here you go, and they'd go, oh Jesus, you know, poor bastards have to count sort of all the bits in 2 board games, but they're worth trading in. I've just sort of yeah, I'll do it this first. Yeah, so credit. I've been using my credit. It was actually a bit of an impulse buy. I saw it in my nearest branch of Computer Exchange, and bit of a screw up this one actually, because it's almost identical to. I missed an opportunity before, and I thought this was the same opportunity as previously that I'd missed, but it's not really. I'll show you my local branch Computer Exchange. It's this. It's actually the gun only, but it came in the box, and I got this version. I think it was in the year 2000. It was Christmas year 2000. That was one of my big Christmas presents that year, and I sort of loved it, and I just spent hours playing it that Christmas. It might have been the year of the millennium. I don't know, Christmas of the millennium, but and I sort of, at some point, obviously got rid of it. I think I kept the gun, but I don't know where the box went. It went somewhere. But always wanted one back. It's that situation. And then sort of years down the line, I was in Computer Exchange, and I saw it was basically my local branch. It said they were selling the gun with the box, and it was like a tenner. And I thought, no. Shall I? No, I didn't because I thought I could make up, because I already had the game. I thought I could make up sort of what I used to have, but someone bought it, and I was sort of gutted that I'd missed the opportunity. I should have got it there and then, but I sort of ummed and ahed. And then this came up, and the same thing. I thought, right, I'm not going to miss out on this opportunity. It's by this time the price had doubled. This was 20 quid. I'm sure it was 10 before. This is 20. Price has doubled. But I thought I could get my money back. So if I've already got the gun, I could trade the gun in. But apparently, I only get like 4 quid credit. Bit of a screw up. And I asked to look at it because I saw it behind the counter. I was excited, but up close is a bit worse than I thought it was. It looks all right. You know, it doesn't look too bad there. A bit chewed on the corners, but then you see this end, and it's missing. There you go. It's missing both tabs at the top, and it's a bit sort of chewed. In the end, I felt obliged, and the girl was nice in there, and I just thought she's been friendly. I thought, oh well, why the fuck not? So I think if I could get a box protector for this, I would, because it would make it look 10 times better, and I could pretend it was in good nick. As it is, it turns out that my copy of Time Crisis won't fit in here because I've got the slightly bigger version. The one that came in here, the not for resale one, was one of the old school smaller cases that fits in this box. So it does mean I'm going to have to buy a whole new copy of Time Crisis just to go in this box. Well, fuck up. Right. Actual games now. This was actually, it wasn't an impulse buy. This was a game I kept seeing in game. This was the first game I bought in game for donkey's years. And did anyone know that if you don't use your credit that you get, it sort of inside like a year, they wipe it. It goes. It's got a shelf life. Sneaky bastards. Game are arseholes. I've heard some stories. Apparently, I heard the actual company, the people working, I just think they just go with it. I heard it was I was in there, and it was one of their employees saying if they have to sort of ask people if they want disc protection, sell a bit of disc protection, and if they don't sell any inside a month or something, they get the sack. That's what this employee said. They have to constantly say, would you like to pay £1 to protect the disc? And I'm guessing if they don't do it inside a month, it's probably an indication that they're not actually doing it, so they have to do it. So what happens if you're continuing to do it, but you're still not selling anything? It's fucking shady, but anyway. got this in game. Thought I had a bit of credit, didn't have some credit, but this is only a fiver, and it looked interesting. I'd looked it up. It's a game called Indivisible. So now I've got a PS5. I've buying a lot more PS4 games and some PS5 games coming up. Yeah, Indivisible. I looked into this. That's the thing. When you get a new console, I've seen it in other people, and I've definitely seen it myself. You get a new console, don't really know the games, the library, and to begin with, you end up buying a right load of shit. I know I do anyway. Buying a right load of shit, and then you look back down the years and go, I bought a right load of shit, didn't I, when I first got that console? So I'm just being careful. I think I've got a couple of consoles that I've had for years. I've never actually bought anything for. They were actually gifted to me. Not that I don't want to, but I'm just sort of just really wary of buying a right load of crap. But no, anyway, it's just sort of something that I do anyway. Yeah. So I ummed and ahed over this for a long time, and I saw it countless times. And in the end, fuck it, I'm going to get it. And it's a really interesting game. It looks sort of like Metroidvania style RPG, but then when you encounter enemies, you see the enemies physically. It's not like random encounters. You see them, but then you don't. It's not real time combat. I don't think it like an RPG, like a turn-based RPG, whatever. It jumps to like a battle screen, and then as it is, you control this girl, but then you've got like a battle party, and then they suddenly appear on screen, like, and then it's just, I like that combo. It's interesting, and it's it was only a fiver. I thought that's not a bad little starter, and I was comfortable that it wasn't a right load of shit. we can't hold these games up to too higher pedestal. Anyway, right. Hopefully, I should be able to whiz through these. Going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, all purchased using credit. A couple of these were actually sort of impulse buys. I knew I wanted them. First one, Dino Stalker for a tenner. All good prices. That's another stipulation for me using my credit. Make sure the price is good. Otherwise, if you've spent all that effort getting this credit, building it up, spending a little to get a lot of credit, only to then spend it on something that's overpriced, doesn't that tend to make the effort sort of redundant? It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Can't be honest, it does. So that's probably one of the reasons why it takes so fucking long to spend my credit, because I'm waiting for all the stuff that's well priced. Oh, an arse. Yeah, anyway, a tenner. Dino Stalker, one I've had my eye on for a long time. Is this connected to Dino Crisis? I've got a feeling it is. I've heard people say it is, at least. But this was my most recent purchase. I saw it, I was out on one of my mooches, on my hikes where instead of walking up mountains, you go in charity shops and computer exchanges and cash converters. Yeah, I saw it and I thought it wasn't in the time before. So, and it had the manual and my receipt. There you go. It's in nice nick apart from. How does that happen? Slightly chewed hologram. Every so often you see that. How does the hologram get all mangled? Because they're almost, as far as I'm concerned, they're like, don't know, just soldered on, blowtorched on, anyway. And another one I had to sort of look into. I wasn't too sure about this one. I knew it had a decent reputation. I knew the price was good. This is a £10, £15 game. Maybe that's a slight overestimation. I had looked at some gameplay in the past, and I thought, that looks dated, but it's got a decent reputation. I think it's called Kaya, or Kya, Dark Lineage. It looks like. Actually, I just realised it's a PS2 game, PS2 case, a PAL one, without a hologram. It's interesting. I think they do exist, but they're not very common. So there are games that need them. So maybe I might have a game that needs a hologram in this case. But anyway, yeah. Sort of not quite Jack and Dax. That was more sort of more platformy, less run and gunny, sort of third person. I think the one of the hooks is that you traverse from areas using updrafts. You basically skydive and float up. You jump into these updrafts and downdrafts, and then you sort of like you can float to different areas. But it looks a bit shonky, a bit dated, but I think it looks like it could have a lot to it. So I thought, and it's a nicely collectible game, and £6 is a really good price. That's another thing. When people bang on about how expensive Computer Exchange are, I don't think any of these. Actually, maybe a couple of them. Since I bought them, they're newer games. The price has gone down, but anyway. But the older stuff, it's such a cliche that Computer Exchange always charge too much, or give too little. That's just not the case. Sometimes their prices are high, sometimes they're low, but it's not. It doesn't pay to generalise, and you know, if their prices are too high, I would never buy anything from them. And that's how it works. You know, even if the prices are too high, the motivation is the credit that would come with them. If you've got something like that, you know, you can get rid of it, get some good credit, but then the price is too high. But then maybe the price will come down. So anyway, PS4, the Dragon Quest 11. It's the definitive edition. They had one of these. There's a bit of a screw up with this. They had one of these in my local branch, nearest branch, and they previously had. I forgot what the other one of the version's called. It's back in the standard edition. This is one with all the DLC, and but they'd sort of, because they look so similar, so I think they'd sold the other copy, the cheaper copy, with the wrong disc. So when I bought mine, they'd put the standard copy disc in, and I had to take it back because I realised it didn't have all the DLC in it. Because one of the things I'm really interested about is it's the version of the game you can play it in 2D. I think that's really exciting. Well, that doesn't really show much innovation, does it? It's basically pandering to people like me who just like the same old. You know, they like all the old school stuff. No sort of innovation at all. But yeah, I don't think you'll be able to see it, but it's got like a 2D version. You can play it as a 2D RPG. That's really exciting. I like that they know their user base and what they like, but also you have the option to play it as a big, impressive 3D RPG. So yeah. What a bell end, done it again. One day I'll learn. It's basically make sure I wiggle my mouse so it doesn't go, so the thing doesn't go to sleep. So yeah. Yeah, again, really good, really well priced. So I'm really chuffed for that. More credit. This one, I don't know if this is a particularly good price, but it's Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age. I really love the PS2 game. I've played about 150 hours of it, and just sort of basically seeing everything I want to see. But I've probably got a good 10 hours worth, and all the end bosses left. I just thought I've seen everything. I've seen the whole game basically. But I'm going to give it a proper go with this because I've got unfinished business, and I thought maybe it might make me play it because I've had that PS2 version on the go for years, never gone back to it, but I've still got the game save. But maybe this might make me go back to it. I'll just play through it all again because I loved it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. The combat took a while to get used to because I was just expecting it to be sort of more like real time in like a Tales game, but it wasn't, or turn based, but it wasn't. It was just that different style in it. But in the end, I just loved it. I loved the game world. What do they call it? The world waking. I can't remember what the term is, but anyway. And this is a newer one. This is basically. I paid again. The price has gone down. It's £38. It's Legends of Heroes Trails from zero. Yeah. This is based on from like an upgraded version of a PSP Japanese PSP only game. One of the reasons why I like this over some of the other Trails games so far, why it appealed to me, because it's that thing that I've realised that all this really new sort of it lacks the hand-drawn element, the personality. It's like it worked the same principle for anime and RPGs and anything, that sort of style. Is that the newer stuff, the sort of the crisper stuff, the one with all the really impressive visuals, doesn't appeal to me quite as much. I'm guessing that's a generational thing because it doesn't appeal to my nostalgia, and I find it slightly more difficult to get into. Anime. I much prefer the older, the rougher stuff, like Dragon Ball Z's right on my street. That sort of era, that sort of look. And this, because it's from a PSP version, it doesn't have that just absolute, like sort of crisp, clean lines and just sort of, like, anyway. Sort of, I'm struggling to explain myself. And to tell you an example, it's a game I would like. It's the Asterix scrolling beat 'em up on the PS4. It looks good, but it looks too good. I would love it if it was a little bit rougher. It lacks a bit of personality. It does feel, because it looks that clean and the lines are so cleanly drawn, and it doesn't look like the characters float. It lacks a bit of weight. I don't know if anybody who's sort of real expert, like Rob, in scrolling RPGs, scrolling beat 'em ups. I wonder if anybody could maybe agrees with me. Probably not, but it's just how it feels to me personally. Just because they're so cleanly drawn, all these sort of later generation games, they lack a bit of weight, a little bit of personality. I like the rougher ones. I like a few coming up. But anyway, yeah, this one, like I said, because it's based on an earlier game almost. I think it's a port almost, or like a, what do they call it, a remaster, that sort of thing. It appealed to me more. Couple of PS5 games you might be able to guess, because these are games made specifically for the PS5, and that's one of the reasons why they appeal to me. So I've actually got something to play now properly. And this one's really intimidating. Returnal. It looks great. It looks great, and I think there is a difference. You can see the difference between games that are specifically built for the PS5 and ones that were just sort of upgrades from the PS4 games. Although, being a novice, I'm probably way off. Again, feel free to disagree with me. I'm guessing that there are good arguments against that. But Returnal looks really good. I haven't played it yet, but and Ratchet and Clank. But all of these have gone down in price. I think maybe, I don't know. Anyway, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, again, made specifically for the PS5. I think. Yeah, looks brilliant for it. There's probably the reasons why. I think someone mentioned in my last video, I was moaning about the lack of innovation, and someone pointed out, well, it's probably because of the cost of making games. For a console like, wiggling my mouse because I'm paranoid about it going to sleep again. Yeah, the cost of making games specifically for PS5 is just astronomical. But right, some online purchases. These are from the game collection, actually, all of them, bar one. Turn-based RPG, Battle Chasers. This was only a £5, I think. It looks really good. It looks really good. Maybe slightly westernised sort of version of anime. The animation looks slightly westernised. I would prefer it if it's slightly more Japanese version. But it looks great. It looks like a Vanillaware game. It has that sort of quality of art. But I really like the look of the combat. It's got similar sort of character styles to sort of a Vanillaware game, something like sort of Dragon Crown. That sort of look, but as a turn-based RPG. But art style really good. I think it's apparently based on a French comic, But this feels like it should be something sort of more expensive game, but it's just not. It just has no profile apparently. I don't know. This is me again talking as a sort of a PS4 sort of novice. This one's really exciting. I haven't actually opened it up yet. There's a couple there I haven't. 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Actual vanillaware game looks stunning and interesting. I thought it was more of a turn-based RPG, but it's more it's real-time strategy. It has elements of real. It's just not like Command and Conquer or something like that, or Rome Total War. It seems like a sort of smaller scale real-time strategy, or real-time combat. I'm not certain I know exactly what it is, but again, as you can see, I haven't opened it yet. But it's meant to have a really good reputation, and I think again this was purchased from the game collection, and that's how are their prices almost always often a lot cheaper than anywhere else for a long time. How do they make their money? Don't know, but they're really good. They always ship quickly, unless anyone has had any other experiences with them. And this is another one. I think the cover of this doesn't do it any favours. It's Scarlet Nexus. This looks like a Tales game. Almost sort of basically a carbon copy of the Tales game, but it doesn't really. The cover doesn't really give it away, does it? But again, I don't understand how this isn't more expensive than it was. This is about a tenner. I don't know. So there's a lot of these games. It's a PS5 game, and it's a sort of Tales game RPG. Like real time combat, which really appealed to people, didn't it? But for whatever reason, no. You get a better idea what it's like on the back, but again, I've had things to do. I haven't opened it. But it was definitely one that I bided my time, made sure it was what I wanted, and like I said previously, not a right load of shit. And this one was a massive no-brainer. Going back to that thing about some modern games looking too clean and lacking bits of personality, being my opinion, this one sort of got the balance right. I don't know what Paprium does. I would love a copy of Paprium, but I don't think I'm ever going to afford one. I don't know how much it goes for now. I imagine it's a lot. Turtle Shredder's Revenge again. But not opened it. Sawme gets the balance right. I love the fact you can play 6 players with this. That blows my mind. I can't imagine what playing 6 players. It's probably feel actually to be honest, it probably feels a bit like a game of Smash Bros. All that action on the screen. But this was a bit of a no-brainer. More so than the Cowabunga collection. This one, it feels smaller. Is it the sprites are smaller? Is that true to say? But yeah, this was I bought this. I'd had an eye on it on Amazon. The price wasn't going up and down much, and then I got that special offer where if you buy something, one of those collect safes. When they deliver it to safe, you can go and collect it, and then it's automated. I did that. I didn't realise that you needed a smartphone for the one that I chose. Apparently, I chose one where you needed a smartphone, and I ain't got a smartphone, so it's a massive fucking arse to get hold of it, and I had to borrow a smartphone, and it's the first time I ever used one. Yeah. Just until a month or so ago, it was the first time I'd never used a smartphone, and it was the nearest one. And basically, I had to download all this stuff on the phone, like I had to have the Amazon app. This is putting me off ever having a phone, and it's just a ball ache. Eventually, I didn't realise when the safe interacts with the phone, and then you type in a code or it pairs with, and it pings open. It's just like ping, and there it is. There's your package. It's quite sort of impressive, but at the same time, I'm not sure I know why, because that game could have easily gone through the letterbox. It's weird. I understand if it's something big and you can't take delivery, but not. This could have gone through my letterbox, but I did it to save £7. I think it was like 25 and it went down to 18 or 17.99. So yeah, and it has basically put me off ever having a smartphone. I probably will do eventually, but I tell you what happened. I bought it and almost straight away, instantaneously, I got an email saying that someone had tried to hack into my Amazon account someone in Manchester tried to get into my Amazon account, and literally a few minutes after I'd sort of used the smartphone, it's just that doesn't compel me to want to use one. I'm just a Luddite. I'm quite happy sort of wallowing in my puddle of refusenik, technological refusenik. I might start a help group, because the thing is, it's like I said, I didn't realise you had to have a smartphone for this particular box safe thing, and it's getting to the point now I'm going to be obliged to have a smartphone. I really don't want one, but some things you have to have one, or you miss out, or people assume you've got one. You know, I've never sent an emoji, but I don't know. I quite like it in a way, but at the same time, I'm seeing the future, and the future is me with a smartphone. Bollocks. Right. Yeah. On to more. This is sort of the start of. Hopefully, it shouldn't take too long, but it will. Obviously, it's gonna. This is all the stuff that I've got from me scrolling endlessly through my Amazon wish list, sort of like zoning out, basically trying to relax my eyes, a bit of dribble coming out of my mouth like this. I'm scrolling, and then I see something new or a different price. I go, oh, and I leap into action. Basically, you know, it's basically like once a month something might pop up, or not even that, 3 months. But yeah, this. It's basically where are we? Yeah, again, it was a recommendation from the one and only Metal Jesus Rocks. One of his, got grit outside. I didn't think they gritted outside nowadays, but they do apparently. Yeah, Metal Jesus Rocks, and one of his what's it called? He's what does he call? What does he do? He does hidden gems. One of his hidden gems, not this first one, the second one. Yeah, it turned up on Amazon, and the prices were really high. But then it's the seller is one of these sellers who sells via Amazon, eBay, and have their own major website. They're like a proper seller, and if you go to their own website, the prices will be a lot lower. And I checked, and it was significantly lower. And it's called We Buy World of Books. World of Books, they sell via eBay and Amazon, but then also have their own website. And on their website, they have you buy two get 20% off. So the price was even lower, because it was lower if I was buying from the website. And I just basically made up two games that I had my eye on. First one is sort of like called Sub Rebellion. It looks like Submarine Commander. It looks like it's going to be dry as fuck, but it's more arcadey than that, and it's sort of based in the future, like dystopian, where there's been a war, or the polar ice caps have melted, and everything's flooded, and then there's all these, there's like this despotic faction who basically run everything and take over the world with their superpowered tanks, submarines, and but then there's a little band of rebels, and you basically are one of these rebels who pilot one of these fancy submarines, and you have to go around sort of fighting all the evil bad dudes there, and they're you know, and it's actually a lot of fun. It looks, like I said, it looks really dry. It's gonna be sort of strategic, but no, it's not. And this one was, this one was the one that I was sort of really chuffed because it's a US only game, but it was obviously already in the UK, and I meant I didn't have to pay shipping and import fees, yeah, because that can be a killer. I had my eye on this for a long time, and it almost pretty much doubled the price. But this came from We Buy Books, World of Books, and it's Snoopy, the Red Dragon, Snoopy and the Red Baron. I've tried to buy this before, if anyone remembers, but they sent me that shitty Red Baron game on the PS2. But no, this is actually again, and it does, it justifies sort of like the hidden gem tag, but it's in really nice nick. But like I said, I've looked at buying this before, but then you have to pay import fees and things like that, and then they're always about the cost of the shipping. The shipping's always about £10, and then you end up paying like £40. And I think with this and Sub Rebellion, I think it was about £15 in total. Yeah, 15, 16 quid, and I was just, well, obviously chuffed. I mean, I think this one's actually, I paid about what it was worth, about £4. It's a dirt cheap game, but I think I've got my money's worth for this, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It feels like, I can't remember. It's Crimson Skies. I suppose then it's just one of these slightly cartoony, arcadey combat flight sims, but a lot of fun. Don't sort of overlook it just because it's got Snoopy on it. Right, last few now. Hopefully I can get in be off before the hour mark. Right, wiggle the mouse button, mouse cursor. Right, this one. I was actually really sort of jealous of people who had this, because this is a game that was sold via the website of the company who made it, but also people who had been to the London gaming market. It was one of these. It's a homebrew Mega Drive game. It's probably going to give it away, and it's basically Xenocrisis. Highly recommended by lots of people, including the one and only Pete on the Retro Tip. Xenocrisis, and in the past people have been to the London gaming market. I wasn't prepared to go because the Lurgy's still around apparently, but then I wasn't. Anyway, in the past I wasn't prepared to go, and they were sort of Bitmap Bureau was selling it for £35 on the website. It was 55. And then they had tax afterwards, and then shipping, and it comes to 66. I'm thinking, I'm not paying 66 quid for something I can pay 35 quid for. So I just steadfastly refused. Then I thought I'm going to go to the London Game Market. Went to the last one, the last knockings, literally the last hour. So it was still pretty crowded when I got there, but then it emptied out. But then they weren't there. Bitmap Bureau weren't there unless they'd gone and they'd turned up and then left really early. But it's basically the only reason I went was for to get a copy of Xenocrisis, and the fuckers weren't there. But then and I didn't see anything else. I'm guessing there was more to see, more to buy, but I don't know. I just wish the venue was bigger. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy being sort of having sweaty nerds, which I'm one of, obviously. Sweaty nerds sort of like coming in my peripheries and sort of like crowding me like this. Anyway, yeah. One other reason I was sort of slightly put off by this game, because it's what clearly should be a dual stick shooter, twin stick shooter as the term is, but isn't, obviously, because it's a Mega Drive game and we'll use a Mega Drive pad. But I think it benefits from having a 6-button controller. I think it uses that. I don't know how it would work with a 3-button controller, but it looks great. If I had this Paprium and I've already obviously got Demons of Asterborg, I'd be chuffed. I mean, it's a really good time to be a Mega Drive collector. That's not to say that a lot of these Mega Drive homebrews are that good, but I think the good ones are really good. This is one of them. But yeah, no, it was a Black Friday. They had a literally half off on the website, but then in there I did tax, so it went from 55 to 27.50, and added tax and then shipping, and it came to 39. I don't know why do they not, because they're based in the UK, I think, in Southampton. Why can't they just, unless they ship from somewhere else? Do they ship from somewhere else? I don't know. Can't they just put the tax on it, incorporate into the price on the website? Because it does tend to lull you into a false sense of security. I don't know. Anyway, but I've got it now, and in the end, I didn't end up paying that much more than I would have if I'd got it from the games market. So yeah, and I didn't realise that the cover's reversible, so it's got the blue on the inside. So it's really exciting. Right, this is sort of, I don't think I'm going to make it inside an hour, am I? This one was the most recent one. This literally came this morning, so I'm doing it now. Actually, this was an eBay purchase. This wasn't. This was a bargain on eBay, which is so rare nowadays. I think it was a bargain. I'm sort of. This is me venturing into out of my comfort zone. People I watch done that years ago, and you sort of like, as far as collectors, you tend to sort of, you grow up and you evolve, and then a lot of people start out buying sort of, everyday, easily accessible PAL stuff, and then graduate onto more sort of serious, more grown-up Japanese stuff. And this is one of my first forays into that realm. I'm not going to be massively into it, but just a few. I've known of, it's a shooter, and it was, fuck it, why don't I just get it out? Why do I do this? I don't know. Anyway, it's a Mushihime Sama on the PS2. This is probably the mintest game I've got. Again, another game, if I'd imported it, it would have... Actually, I don't think they have the... Most sellers don't use the global shipping program from Japan. They just sort of whack a load of... like a high shipping fee, and then you probably get sort of stuck with import fees afterwards. But yeah, but this came from Glasgow, and this came in a protector, not box protector, the plastic thing, wrap thing, and it is absolutely pristine. This is just, yeah. It was $37.99. I thought the seller had it for $44.99. I thought that was good enough as it was. I was tempted at that, but they I've been looking at it. I've been watching it for a while, and then they dropped it. They dropped it to $37.99. And like, well, that's almost a no-brainer. I mean, it's. I don't know if this is one of the more expensive ones. I've got a feeling it isn't, but I know $37.99 is a really good price for it. It's not an Ibarra. Espegaludo is more expensive as well. I don't know about Dodonpachi. I think Dodonpachi is one of the cheaper ones, but I do think that what I paid was a good price, and it's what it is with bullet hell RPGs. I like the fact that they look impossible, but they're not. They look terrifying and really intimidating, and at the same time they're visually impressive. I like. They're almost like little works of art, the way the bullets form and flow. I love that. It's almost, you can sort of like get hypnotised by them. But like I said, I think one of the main things is how they look impressive. I've watched so many videos of people. You almost look people who are really good at these look superhuman, but it's probably not. It's probably just sort of memory and repetition, isn't it? But yeah, first foray into the serious world of Japanese shooter collecting. But yeah, that's so that was an eBay purchase, which is just weird. I thought I was going to get stuck because of the strikes, which I do support, by the way. But no, it didn't. It took a little bit longer, but it's here now. Right, these last four are all Billy bargains. Actually, one of them sort of bit of a balls up. From my tactic of scrolling through my Amazon wish list again. Just do it every day. Do it sort of 2 or 3 times a day, and then you'll get to memorize all the sort of like the prices and stuff. And then often it will tell you if the price has gone up and down. But then you get the little red price, and sometimes hang on, like I said, it doesn't always work. Go and buy a cowbunga collection or whatever. I did tell you about Under the Skin, didn't I? Yeah, I did tell you about that arsehole. But Hyrule Games, their prices are sort of they're inflated anyway. But no, but these 4 worked. Last 2 in particular, actually all of them, I'm really excited about. This one popped up on Amazon Marketplace for $29.99, which was a bargain. I thought it's worth the gamble because again they're always sight unseen. Sometimes they have little descriptions, but often they don't. It's one that I've wanted for a long time. It's Air Guys. It was $29.99. I thought that's definitely worth it because it's can go for a lot more than that, maybe twice. I've twice as much. I've maybe sort of 40, but I'm sure it's gone for 60. I don't know, but I did know that $29.99 was a bargain. I've got a feeling it might be about a £60 game. I can't remember exactly. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Being a Final Fantasy fan, it's sort of a no-brainer. I thought I wasn't sure about the game itself, but it's an odd one. I'll give it that. Interesting. I think there probably is a lot in it. I just need to give it a bit more time. But it turned up with a really nice nick, but it didn't have a manual. Didn't have a manual, and then it's slightly deflating. But then I went on eBay, and there was someone selling a manual, but then it was 20 quid. Oh, am I going to pay 20 quid just for a manual? And I did. So in the end, this cost me 53, so it wasn't quite as much of a bargain as I was hoping it was going to be. But I think that's still a good price. I think it's 53 in total. I can't remember exactly. It's still a good price, but you know, in the end, it's sort of I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I keep passing up manuals and then missing out on them. Someone nabs them, and when I think they're too expensive. So in the end, I think that's probably what made me spend 20 quid just for a manual. I wouldn't do that all the time, but I think I was just in a funny mood or a bad mood or a good mood. I don't know. Something made me. I'm not taking responsibility for it. It was someone else, something else. Yeah, but Air Guys, a bit of a weird one by all accounts. And this one, I think it's We Buy Books. We Buy Books. I think there's always slightly similarly named sellers on Amazon. There's like World of Books, We Buy Books, Online Music, Films and Games. Actually, I think for Amazon, World of Books is called Online Music, Films and Games. And the World of Books website, eBay, their World of Books. But Amazon, they're Online Music, Films and Games. Confusing. Then there's World of Books, and there's just I don't know. I'm sure this was We Buy Books. Yeah. And decent enough seller. Again, sight unseen, and it was like a gamble. But this is another gamble. This one worked out better. I think this was another one that was 30 quid, and again, that's a bargain. This is the last sort of RPG on the PS1, PAL PS1 that I wanted, and I think it had a slightly mashed up case, but I had loads of replacement cases. And it's a Monster Seed. I think this has no profile whatsoever. You never hear anyone talking about it. It's like a monster catcher, monster breeder, Pokemon type style game, but with a sort of slightly odd almost tactical combat system where you have a little arena and you can have little squares you can move around in that sense, but it's not a massive area where you fight. But it has no profile, and I think sellers on eBay tend to ask too much for it. It doesn't go as much as they want for it, and so it doesn't sell very often. But it's an interesting little game. It basically, like I said, it makes up my almost. I think there might be one or two. I think this is it actually. I've got a feeling this might be it. RPG PAL collection. Like I said, it has no profile. And so now I've got a good case for it. It's in really nice nick, and it's obviously complete. A little bit rough, not much, but anyway, yeah. So Monster Seed, look it up. You probably enjoy it if you're into that sort of Pokemon style monster catcher game. But it is, like I said, it's sort of an RPG, that style. But yeah, and I was really excited by this one. But these next two, both from the same seller. This is strange. This is an Amazon Marketplace seller, a charity based in the US, and it looks like they only sell to the UK, which I find really strange. All their prices are round pound sterling, so they're not converted. I find odd. And the first one was a massive punt. That's the better of the two, but I'm excited about them both. The first one was a massive punt. The second one I was, because they're like a random, obviously they're random marketplace seller, with just the basic, good description. So that could be anything. But they had very little feedback, but then lots of listings, like 4,000 listings, but only like 38 feedback. And I was a little bit suspicious, but the price for both of them was just good that I couldn't really pass them up. They were both the same price. They were both $49.99 in sterling. So again, obviously not converted from dollars. And like I said, I think this person, whoever they are, because there were other people in their feedback who are clearly in the UK. So maybe it's a tax thing, I don't know. But it was a little bit strange, but I'm not complaining. This first one was the most recent one, like I said. The second one's sort of even more mind-blowing. Actually, not mind-blowing. It's a bit over-egging it slightly. But anyway, I'll show you. $49.99. I took a punt on both of them. Obviously, the second one made me realise that they weren't chances, so it was less of a punt. But this is what the second one I got. $49.99 plus a bit of postage. Again, it was only like £3. Expected it to be held up by customs, but wasn't. Neither of them were. I don't know why not. Maybe it's something with Amazon. I don't know. But again, it's Luna. So again, this is me. Comes from me scrolling endlessly through my Amazon wish list. So there's a little tip. Look up all the stuff on Amazon, all the random games, the retro games, whatever. A lot of them do have listings. A lot of them have nothing for sale, but every so often one of them get listed, and this is the case. And it was like I said, $49.99 plus about £3 postage. And again, sight unseen, so a bit of a gamble, but it's turned up and it's in really nice nick. Literally, the only thing wrong with it is the glue coming up there. It's got the little tab thing on the back. Opens up like that. It's got all the business on the inside. It's got the art book. The art book has slightly scuffed cover. It's got the little manual still in its bag. Not the manual, the map. The book is the manual, so it doesn't come with a manual. But it's actually, to be honest, this is a bargain, but it's not that expensive a game. If I was buying it in the US, it'd probably be about £80, but then not so much shipping on top, because it's in the. Actually, I just realised. Oh no, it's embossed. I thought that was a thing, but no, it's raised. Is it raised? Yeah, it is raised. Weird. That weird arm there. Look, it looks like something's been spilt on it. There you go. No, it's not that expensive, but to have ordered this from the UK, you'd be paying a lot in shipping, and probably in the global shipping program, you'd add the import fees, and then it would put a lot on top of it. But I took a gamble, and it paid off. And this is probably the one I'm most excited about, because again, it's the PS1 RPG. It's my era, and not a game I'd ever thought I'd own. So yeah, Luna Silver Star Story. Now, I think the second game's probably more expensive. I think it's about an £80 game. in auction. It does seem to be surprisingly that is cheap. That feels cheap, even though 80 quid is 80 quid. You know, if you're 80 quid for something else, that's expensive. But for PS1 RPG, and that sort of version of a PS1 RPG that's complete, I think it has gone for a lot more than that on the odd occasion, but regularly it goes for about 80 quid or 85, something like that. So what I paid was a bit of a bargain. Excuse me. Oh, an hour and 5 minutes. What a surprise. Right, last one. Nearly there. Happy Christmas, by the way. I haven't got my decorations up yet. It's mid-December and it's been snowing outside. Right, hang on. Give me 5 minutes. I need to go and have a piss. That's better. I feel refreshed. I've forgotten where I was. Where was I? Yeah, talking about same seller. I bought this from on Amazon. Random American charity for oh, fuck off. Kids Next Door just turned up. Brilliant. They're going to have a fucking party. They have all-nighters. The kids do. Anyway, same seller, American charity. It was a charity for work for people with learning difficulties. Based in California, I think. San Francisco. Yeah, this is the first game I bought from them, so this is the biggest punt. But again, it was like 50 quid, exactly the same price. Turns out that's a massive bargain. PS2 RPG, Xenosaga 3, in really nice nick, complete, both discs and manual. This is about £250 game. Don't know why they were selling it for 50 quid, but they were. And I think I just got a bit lucky. There are so many more bargains available on Amazon than eBay now. Amazon Marketplace, but yeah. So now that does mean I'm having to look out for the first game, because I've got a PAL version of number 2, which is weirdly the crappiest of the 3. For some reason they gave us the crap one, but then didn't give us the 2 good ones, which is 1 and 3 apparently. But I think I've got a feeling they're like canon. Is that the right term? You know, the storyline, whatever it is. The storyline continues on from the first one through to the second and third. Anyway, yeah. So Xenosaga 3. Thank you to this American charity who sell to Brits via Amazon Marketplace. For whatever reason, you were prepared to sell this for 50 quid. But it turned up. Didn't expect it to. Didn't have to pay import charges. So I think I got lucky in many ways. But yeah. Xenosaga 3, chuffed. Right, I'm going to have to cut it off here because I think I've got a feeling the little shits next door are going to start making a racket anytime soon. So I can let you go. Have a good Christmas, and I'll see you on the flip side. I've never said that in my life. Cheers. See you later.